There's been a lot of discussion this session about House Bill 1002, which was a bill about charter schools. Many of the provisions in the bill, it was felt by the traditional schools, would negatively impact their budgets. One was the issue of transportation, providing transportation to charter schools. And what we were able to do on our Senate Education Committee was to remove that provision from the bill. Since all of education has been flatlined for this year, it was felt that because of budgetary considerations for the traditional public schools to take on this added expense would be unfair to them. Another thing that we were able to do, there was a provision in terms of converting a public school to a charter school, and it could be changed by either parents or teachers. The way the charter school bill originally read was that it had to be a combination of both. So we were able to return to that old charter school legislation so that 51% of the teachers and 51% of the parents would have to convert a traditional school to a charter school, and it was felt that there needs to be cooperation between these two groups in order to do that. We do have one example of that happening in Evansville, and when these two groups came together and decided to do that, they've got one of the most successful schools in the nation. Another concern still is out there where we have to deal with. One bill went through the legislature that talked about only 50% of a charter school having to have certified teachers. At least 50% of the teachers had to be certified. This legislation yesterday did move it up to 75%. But there are many of us who are still at odds with this because we feel that parents ought to be assured that when they put their children in a charter school, that all the teachers in there have been certified to teach. And so we're trying to see whether or not we may in the future make changes in that. There are other provisions that were there, but the intent of what we tried to do in Senate Education Committee this past week was to balance the concerns of both charter schools and traditional schools and achieve a balance where all students, whether they go to a charter school or whether they go to a traditional public school, will be able to achieve success. I think as long as we keep students in mind when we make decisions about education, then we will come out with a future that will be a future that young people will be successful in when they try to compete in what is now called the global economy.